Welcome back to India's first luxury podcast, Luxe Insider, with me, your host, Anita Khatri. This week too, we have a new guest joining us. But first, here's your roundup on the latest in the world of luxury. Aditya Birla Fashion and Retail Limited acquired a 51% stake in House of Masaba Lifestyle Private Limited for rupees 90 crore. House of Masaba, owned by designer Masaba Gupta, houses apparel, non-apparel, beauty, personal care and accessories. Through this investment in brand Masaba, Aditya Birla Fashion will seek to strengthen its play into fashion for young and digitally savvy consumers, along with making a foray into the branded beauty and personal care segment. I personally believe that this is a very smart move by Aditya Birla Fashion to capture the young consumer. Mukesh Ambani owned Reliance Industries Limited is buying Mandarin Oriental, New York for $98 million, adding an iconic property to its hospitality and retail assets. The acquisition will add to the consumer and hospitality footprint of Reliance Industries, which already has investments in Overdrive Hotels, Stock Park in UK, and is developing a convention center, hotel, and managed residences in BKC, Mumbai. The transaction is expected to close by the end of March. Adidas and Prada are taking their collaboration one step further by including apparel for the first time and raising the sustainability bar further. The recently launched Adidas for Prada Re-Nylon collection reinterprets each brand's aesthetic codes once again, blending the Italian brand's craftsmanship with Adidas sportswear heritage. German luxury car maker Audi said it has commenced bookings for all the new version of its premium SUV Q7. Powered by a new powerful 3-liter petrol engine, the new generation Q7 can be booked at an initial booking amount of rupees 5 lakh. Toyota too launched its most luxurious truck ever, Tundra Capstan, with 22-inch chrome wheels and perforated leather upholstery. That's all on the latest happenings for this week. In my very first episode, I shared with you that between 1908 and 1938, 230 Indian Maharajas owned 900 Rolls-Royce cars. Very recently, the luxury car maker sold 5,586 vehicles in more than 50 countries, the largest number in its 117-year history, despite all the uncertainty of the pandemic. What a feat for the car maker. With that, I'm sure you have guessed the topic of this week's episode, the luxury auto industry. While my love for watches will always prevail, cars intrigue me. This stems from the fact that many watch brands collaborate with the auto industry. Roger Dubuis and Lamborghini, IWC Schaffhausen and Mercedes-AMG, Richard Mille and McLaren, and Hublot and Ferrari are some of the successful collaborations that come to my mind. In fact, I've also had the opportunity to visit the Ferrari and Volkswagen Phaeton manufacturing unit through work. To enrich my knowledge further on the luxury auto industry, I'm super excited to have Adil Jal Darukhanawala on today's episode. With a career that spans over 4 decades and a passion that goes even beyond, Adil is probably the most well-known name in the Indian automotive sphere. Adil has been the founding editor of various automotive publications in India, starting with Car and Bike International and then Overdrive, Car India, Bike India, CV India, Zig Wheels, and also Fast Bikes India. His knowledge on the subject and his ability to recollect the minutest of details from years gone by often sees him regarded as a walking, talking automotive encyclopedia. We are thrilled to have Adil here with us on Luxe Insider to discuss the luxury auto industry. Without wasting any more time, let's hear straight from Adil. Hi, Adil.
Hi. Good to get our old face back in the reckoning. Acquaintances from our previous days working together. I think we have caught up after a very, very long but welcome break.
Thank you, Adil, first of all. In spite of your busy schedule, thank you very much for accommodating us and joining us on Luxe Insider.
The thing is that when you're having fun, time flies, you never think about anything. So, yes, I think that this session also should be a fun session, and I'm very eager to join in and help make some sense out of luxury, which I'm yet to hear from the high priestess of luxury, which is you.
Thanks, Adil. Thank you. There are some car brands which are synonymous with word luxury, like Mercedes, Lamborghini, Porsche, Rolls-Royce, Bentley, Maserati, Jaguar. Now, is it history, price, or performance or power? What has made these brands synonymous with luxury?
Okay, this is a very broad swathe you are cutting across over there, laying it out. And if you see it from virtually the time when the car was just out on the roads in Europe in the late 1890s, it was all about being a technical innovation to go from to commute from places which didn't have metal roads. Luxury became a byword because you could replace the horse and the stagecoach with a mechanical monster. So that became luxury in its essence. Over the years, then you saw the automobile becoming more powerful. That added to its prestige. So whosoever were the big shots who could afford cars in the early 1900s, they went for the more powerful cars because the cars were winning races and all that. That became another connotation of luxury. Then you got across over there that the cars became larger and more grander, so that people who were in positions of power, royalty, the really well-heeled, they wanted to be pampered when they went for official functions or just to make their stature felt. That brought in another dimension of luxury where creature conveniences, creature comforts counted a lot. So in that sort of sense, what all attributes you've told me about price, history, performance, power, at one time or the other, they all denoted different steps of luxury in the evolution of the automobile. So if you're talking about the purveyors of luxury from the history perspective, it has to be Mercedes-Benz first and foremost. If you're talking across price, luxury is again doesn't come cheap. Luxury has to be defined as great value for it. So what might be expensive in terms of sheer quantum of money laid out, is it value or is not value, is what you have to look at. And this dictum has stayed constant all across from 1890s to the present. So price is just a addendum to what is there on the product. So you have to perceive quality pricing like that. And yes, a prestige car needs to have a powerful engine. Without that powerful engine, you cannot have a Mercedes-Benz with a fuel-efficient Maruti 800 power. It will not move. So you need to have everything there. So in that sort of sense, Mercedes-Benz has remained constant all throughout the years. Rolls-Royce defined luxury in trying to cater to the heads of state and very well-heeled private owners and whatnot. And they never went too much, excepting for the first 4-5 years of their existence when they went motor racing. Rolls-Royce never went motor racing, whereas Mercedes-Benz did always. So Rolls-Royce's connotation of luxury was all about refined size, refined movements, touch and feel in the cabin, etc. That was the way. So, but today, when you look at it, all the prestige marks have got a bit of everything in them. Yes, Mercedes Benz still goes racing and still makes cars which are technologically at the cutting edge of the peak over there in that way. Yes, Lamborghini is just nothing but outrageous styling and sheer power to dominate the minds. Porsche is also in that same vein. So you have got Bentley, Maserati, all these guys. It has got to be a bit of everything. What those attributes which you put out together.
After hearing all these brand names and the explanation as to what are the attributes which make them synonymous with Mercedes, where would you position Audi and Volkswagen?
Here there is a dichotomy across over there. Audi, yes, Audi has made rapid strides in the last 3 decades, or rather 4 decades. When you look at going across to doing technologically brilliant stuff, they have also gone ahead to purge themselves in the Volkswagen Group as a technologically defined OEM. And the Volkswagen Group is chock-a-block with a lot of brands. Still, in the pecking order in the Volkswagen Group, you have Skoda at the bottom, along with Seat, a Spanish brand which we have not seen. Then we have Volkswagen, and then on top of Volkswagen, we have Audi. But Audi, Volkswagen, Seat, and Skoda all make similar cars, but with a little bit extra going from one to the other to the other two. So Skoda has a little bit more, is a base. Seat has a little bit more over Skoda. Volkswagen has a little bit more over Seat, and Audi has a little bit more over Volkswagen. So they have tried to be challengers to BMW and Mercedes-Benz to a certain degree, and I think they have done well in that frame. Volkswagen tried to do, or rather tried to take the fight straight on to the jugular of Mercedes-Benz with their S-Class, which is acknowledged as the best defining automobile in the luxury segment. Volkswagen said, we'll take the S-Class from Mercedes-Benz head-on. The tragedy is they made a great car, the Volkswagen Phaeton.
Phaeton, yeah, Phaeton. Yeah, I was just thinking about Phaeton. That's true.
It's the Phaeton. And there, what happened was, it was a technologically superlative machine, but it never caught the eye of the discerning automobilists, because the thing is that Volkswagen never invested in trying to define luxury at the top end, because they never had a car like that. They could not, make a dent in the psyche of the luxury car buyer who found that the car looked similar to the Volkswagen Passat or the Golf, which were everyday family cars. So luxury is a very, very dicey thing to handle. It has to be nurtured. It has to be handled smartly. You cannot suddenly today you cannot just take a Swatch watch and think that you are going to hit the guy with a Rolex and say, oh, I've made a better Rolex. But if I want a Rolex, I'll buy a Rolex made by Rolex. Why should I buy a Rolex made by Swatch? That is the whole way people looked at the Volkswagen Phaeton, and logically, it just died a natural death because they just couldn't do anything across over there. So yes, Volkswagen and Audi have the basis with which they can do luxury, but they do luxury in classes of cars way, way lower than where the top range cars from Mercedes-Benz, Rolls-Royce operate.
Talking about watches and cars, what according to you is the reason for the world of cars and the world of watches being in love with each other? Do you see there is some love and affection towards each other?
Uh, yeah, but it also has to do with quite a lot of money left aside after buying the car of your dreams.
Correct. I agree
So
with you
you have
totally.
that, then you what you call say, okay, let's splurge a little bit because I thought I have run across. See, again in the luxury car thing, you buy an S class at say XYZ crores, and you get that, and after that you start adding the extras onto it, which can be another half a crore or a crore of rupees more. So people who generally buy cars like the top end Mercedes Maybach or the Rolls Royce uh, or the Bentley, they also then it's just not the base car they buy. After the base car, then you outfit it with more extras to your liking and whatnot. And then when you have money left over, you buy a matching watch or something that way.
Oh, okay.
That's what I came to think. The good thing is that I don't have that much money to buy an S class, and nor that I like an S class so much. I'd rather buy a small two-seater Mercedes sports car, which I can enjoy driving, rather than S classes for the fat cats to be driven in. I don't think I'm a fat cat. I would rather I'm not a cat as well. I love to drive my cars, and that is it.
If you allow me, I would just like to add something here, since watches is something which I would like to elaborate. To my mind, it's always been, or whatever I've understood so far, a lot to do with fine detailing. It's a technology, engineering coming at the best. You have you have a larger surface when it comes to cars, but you have a smaller surface to put in your smallest and tiniest minutest
Yeah, but there is
detailing.
one major difference. One major difference, Anita. Uh, a watch at say 50 lakhs and a watch at say 5,000 tell you the same time. Whereas a car, 50 lakh car and a 5 lakh car, the way you travel the same distance, you travel it in a very different manner. So it is there how much you want to pamper yourself, how well do you want to reach your destination. There's a big difference between what the car and the watch do.
You're right. You're right. You're absolutely correct on that. Uh, we are talking about, customer who thinks of buying a luxury car. What according to you are the factors that he or she should keep in mind while selecting a luxury car?
Important thing is that the people who are already there in the space that they are considering a luxury car are already well traveled, well informed, very aware. Of course, they have been successes in life. Not to mention that a lot of these successful guys are also uh, people who have worked on the other side of the legal divide and whatnot. So if you see Mercedes Benz customers, top line things, some time ago there was a survey. Half of the world's greatest dictators had Mercedes Benz 600 limousines because they needed to be protected. And the other half you had got also top end mafia bosses and whatnot in Italy and all that. They got those cars. So nothing wrong, they bought the car. So, but people who want to get into buying a car at that end of the market, they already are aware of brands. They look into what is the application they need. They also look at their immediate rivals. Am I going to upstage someone with my purchase, or am I going to be upstaged by buying a lesser equipped car? So I think at that what you call position, people are already clued in on the brands, on the models, on the fitments they want. So yes, it is like going into one of these bespoke suiting shop and getting it tailored in Savile Row according to you. That's how these guys do it. So the base Rolls Royce or the base Bentley or the base Mercedes Benz is first the cloth, and on top of that, then the list of options is what they use to tailor the car to their requirements. That is how they do it.
Thanks, Adil. I'm sure that this question you must have been asked by many during lockdown. And lockdown still, I don't know what our future holds right now. But during lockdown, I heard that luxury auto brands like Maserati, Lamborghini saw an increase in their sales in 2021 with increasing demand for the car models coming from tier 1 and tier 2 cities. At 2.5 crores, roughly 2.43 crores, the Maybach 600 GLS by Mercedes-Benz had 50 units pre-booked and sold even before the official launch. Now, considering the kind of roads that we have, I'm just wondering where and how so much of demand of the cars are coming by, even during lockdown. First of all, I don't think so. We have such kind of roads for us to speed with such high performance cars. So will you elaborate on this?
Yeah, let me shed some light on. There are 2-3 things over here. First, you talk about roads. I think these cars, at least the Maybach Mercedes, is ideally suited to just thunder through any of these illogically prepared roads and yet give a carpet of air, a very great carpeted ride feel to its occupants. So that is luxury in one way. And honestly speaking, a Lamborghini is not expected to do that. We require billiard smooth roads for it to do. But a Lamborghini Urus SUV can just about do it. So you're going to see different strokes for different folks. So the application is very important. Every luxury car cannot do everything. So you need to define, you want a sports car, you want a stately car, you want an SUV, 3 different things altogether. Where is the market heading and why is that suddenly mushroomed after the lockdown or in the lockdown? Very simple reason. People had been locked up in the house. A lot of revenge buying was happening with at least those who did not get to party for more than 20 months. So they must have saved a lot of money. That is the way the luxury car business has gone. But if I have to say one great luxury in these times, which not many would have said, I think being safe at home was the best luxury, provided you knew what to do with your mind there. So that is how I look at things.
You're correct. You're absolutely right. There have been different realizations during lockdown as what luxury means. Totally agree with you on that. Is the demand for customization like what you were explaining to me? It is something which is existing and it will continue to exist. It's not like demand has increased post-lockdown or pre-lockdown that more and more people are demanding customization.
No, it's not that. It's not about just customization. It is about what is the owner's need, owner's application for the car. If he wants to only make a style statement to go every day from his house to the golf course or to a club in the evening, any car will do for him and all that. But if he wants to make a statement, he wants to definitely drive from Pune to Bombay, then he needs the car with everything inside. So quite a lot. But as I see it, so many people who are there in Pune or in Bombay, they have the S classes at both ends of the spectrum. In Pune, they drive from the house in Pune to the airport in their S class, get into the aircraft, land in Bombay, and they have another S class there of their own at their Bombay house, which comes to pick them up. So yes, so there's quite a lot which is there already by way of customization. It's not that the lockdown has done anything more to it. In fact, it has only enhanced more cars to be bought, and people are jumping at that. So just to give them that feeling of being liberated after having been kept indoors or pegged down, rather not kept indoors, rather have been pegged down from doing what they love to do.
True. And you also mentioned to me earlier that, you require right car when it comes to the roads. So, what is the purpose of the car? So when it comes to the purpose of the car, what luxury automobiles would you recommend for city use, outstation, or drive around holidays? And especially during lockdown, and when things open up, people have been holidaying with restricted travel. People have been holidaying in the driving destination. So, what cars would you recommend?
The SUV is the best go-to car for any purpose in the country, and it works very well all throughout. Yes, sedans, traditional sedans are cars which captains of industry definitely use to be driven in. And for the spoiled sons of a lot of rich fathers, they already have the two-seater sports cars and whatnot. So it is like that. I'm not saying every son is a spoiled son, but some are there and they definitely trash their sports cars quite a lot. But by and large, the SUV is the preferred car. It has got everything going for itself.
So SUV is also it's basically multi-purpose. So, can use it in the city, drive around holidays, things like that. So it's a value for money investment is what I understand from you.
I have got great SUVs at 20 lakhs and I've got over the top SUVs at 7 crores. So it depends on how much money you have got, how clever, foolish or stupid you are. So that's how you do it.
So talking about that, are there any luxury car buying trends currently in India? Or are there any such kind of demand for specific brand or specific vehicle?
No, so whatever you are seeing, the thing is that the more exclusive, the better it is to stand out. But then the more exclusive, if it's not backed by good after-sales support, then it's takes the sheen out of buying such a car. So you need to see. There's no point in having a thing where you buy a car which only sells about 4 or 5 units a year in India. That company can't go across setting up dealerships at 5 different centers which the car may have been sold to. So that's where you have to be a little smart and understand where you're going to use, what you're going to use, where are you going to have the support, etc., everything. And let's not forget, the more the electronics in a car, in a country like ours, the more the trouble you have in cars falling, stopping short on expressways or off the beaten path and all that. So you have to have great after sales support. It's a very, very vital thing.
Well, Adil, that's a very interesting point that you really shared with us. The more electricals, and that makes it even more complicated when it comes to the performance of a car. I understand that. And are there any most sought after luxury cars currently in India?
No, all the names we spoke about, Mercedes, Rolls-Royce, Bentley, Maserati, Lamborghini, Ferrari, they are right there in that sphere of acceptance by people, So, and again, one thing you must also understand that some demand is always greater than supply. And this has been the trend all throughout. So if you say you get into a Mercedes-Benz showroom and say, I want the Maybach today, you will get that right. Your time for delivery will be September 2022, not now. So, yeah, so it's such cars are not awash in the Mercedes-Benz portfolio. They have to be made across over there with the owner's requirements, etc. So it takes time. So very clear example is Ferrari. Ferrari makes cars, and a brand new Ferrari model is announced in Europe. The first choice is always given to loyal Ferrari owners before who have bought cars. A newbie like you or me can't go and buy that Ferrari immediately. You are put in a sort of a line over there. First preference given to owners who have stood by the brand who have bought before. So there are too many variables here. And yes, the paradigm is that you just can't walk into a showroom and buy a car off the shelf. It's a one in a million opportunity that way in India.
Yes, this is very much similar again in the watch industry also, especially complicated high-end watches, limited editions. There are some pieces and demand for certain pieces, which, demand supply, as you explained. You'll have to wait for a year, sometimes even 2 years before that watch is delivered to you. That's really right. And but in India, when you're saying, you mentioned Mercedes, Lamborghini, all of the brands that we have spoken about, is there a specific model or a craze about something right now? Is there something which you would like to share with our listeners on that?
No,
not really.
There are people who love all sorts of cars. At the end of the day, you can only drive one car at a time. You can't drive, even you may have 10 cars in your garage. You can only be able to drive one car at a time. So honestly speaking, the people who are already there in that sphere have more than 3-4 cars already in their garage. So, and they don't try to have every one of the same make. They do definitely spread out their apron there to accommodate as many different brands as possible.
Adil, one question which I always wanted to ask you and check with you, and I have the opportunity today to ask you. I had heard stories about people in Bombay and even in cities like Bombay and Delhi, where they own more than 10 of these cars, a car collector, and you have your Urus or you have your Lamborghini cars, different cars. These cars, they want to drive on a speed up and drive just the fun of driving. They get up early morning or late night and they have races. Can you tell us the story about this? Some stories that I've heard about some. Is this true? I mean, do often, car enthusiasts do that?
Yeah. The way you phrased it, they have races. No, they don't have races. They only try to go along with like-minded guys with equal powerful machinery, and they try to have a blast because they need to see that adrenaline in them has to be dissipated somehow. So, and early mornings or late night is the best sort of a thing, probably on the roads over there, given that there is lesser traffic. Of course, I don't advocate that someone has to break the law in trying to drive fast and empty roads, because you may find one jaywalking guy coming there, and the person who's driving this car. One thing I also must tell you is these cars are not just very powerful in a straight line, but they are also very powerful with their brakes. So any nerd can put his foot on the accelerator and he'll go fast. How well he will control the car under braking is where most accidents happen. And most of the people who own these cars are not very skillful drivers. I'm not saying everyone, but a fair bit of them are not. So yes, to dissipate their adventure pangs, and they have to have some natural outlet for it. They've got the cars to do that. They definitely will drive spiritedly. And as long as driving spiritedly is concerned, it's great. Overdoing anything. Actually speaking, many of these cars, especially the Maserati and the Ferrari and some of the AMG Mercedes, they are illegal in second gear. In second gear, they'll be doing 100 kilometers per hour. And that's the maximum speed limit. They'll be doing over 100. So, honestly speaking, these cars are built for at least 300 kilometers per hour. And that too, they are electronically limited to 300. So, what I'm saying is, you need to respect the machinery under you. And yes, many a time, it is not what you call respected, it is abused, or the systems are abused. So, yes, that's a different game or different sphere we are entering. That's not luxury for me. That's only foolhardiness for me.
Thanks for enlightening us. Yes, we understand. Talking about now about the future being electric cars.
I don't like it. I don't like it.
You don't like it. I just wanted to know, basically, we all are reading and understanding, electric cars, and they are all over the place as far as the world is concerned. But what is the future of electric cars in India? And you say you don't like it. So, but still, you would know whether they will come to India or no.
Yeah, they will come to India. Whether they will become mainstream in the next 10 years is something where the jury is out. So I think I'm very happy. I'll see off my life with ICE engine cars for the next 10, 15 years. I'm damn thrilled about it. I don't know about the future because everything about the electric car doesn't add up as yet. It has not managed to convince me massively. So, as a technology demonstrator, there are cars. Again, whatever happens in terms of technology, always the top end cars come out with that technology first, and then it trickles down the line to the bread and butter cars. So, we are seeing that phase of life right now. You are seeing Tesla, you are seeing Mercedes Benz, you are seeing Porsche, who are with really top notch electric models, also, they are incorporating in their portfolio. So it's coming from there. They don't come cheap. They need to have a different infrastructure to support them and to juice them up. So yes, so those guys already have 4 or 5 other cars in their portfolio. So it works well for them to make a statement saying, okay, this is like a salve to their mind, saying, okay, we have got so-called fossil fuel engine cars, so we'll have a green car also to make us less guilty. I don't think that today's cars are anywhere filthier in their emissions than what cars were 10 years ago. They are the cleanest cars you can get in the market today. The technology of the fossil fuel engine is massive. It's gone to great extent. So, yes, but the world and his grandmother is what you call on electric shocker. So, I don't know. Once they get the wrong end of the shock, then we will see how it pans out.
In your current possessions that you have, what is your most prized luxury possession?
Well, I've got my most luxury possessions are all my 27 motorcycles. I love them all. I ride them all. Yamaha MT-01, 3-4 Ninja, Kawasaki Ninjas. I've got the Indian Scout. I've got a Triumph Truxton. I've got a BMW F650. I've got old classic bikes, vintage bikes, etc. So those things are. Then I've got my classic cars. So those are some things which delight me no end. I can tinker with them. I can play with them. Uh, they start unfailingly. They don't protest. Nothing. I think that is the sheer ability, and it's not about speed. My bikes are capable of doing 200 kilometers plus per hour. But for me, that is not the thing. My thing is, I want to enjoy the sheer delight of getting on astride the saddle and riding. And that is how well the bike rides, handles. I'm happy cruising at 80, 90 kilometers per hour, which is wonderful for our country and our roads. And that is why I take delight in being one with the machine and out in the open. That is the pure luxury for me. There's luxury also, like I've got the best computer systems going to help me with my work. The iPhone works wonderfully well for me. That is also luxury in that sense. Luxury is also how comfortable I am when I listen to my music when I'm working. So these sort of things are there. And yes, my cars are also there. But this is how I look at my luxury is able to be at peace with my surroundings and my family also to be part and parcel of those surroundings where they also partake of the luxury in that sense.
But which is your next luxury item in bikes if you aspire to own? Is there anything on your list?
Not so quickly right now. The bike has to do something for me deep in my heart for me to whatever. So up till now, the new crop of bikes has not done that much. But let's see what. And to be honest with you, I have the new Royal Enfield 350 with me. It's a modern take on the old classic Royal Enfield. And trust me, it's the best luxury you can get for under 2.5 lakhs of rupees. It is terrific. So what I'm saying, luxury resides at different segments of the price point. And what is the big point of me having a bike which is costing 10 lakhs when this 2.5 lakh rupee bike has got all the character, all the charm, and still what you call delivers much more in terms of smiles for me than the 10 lakh rupee bike would.
Great. Is there any such car also, SUV, that you would like to point out for our listeners?
Actually, one of the finest SUVs which has been there in the country was the Tata Hexa, which I own. Since the last 2.5 years, they have discontinued the car because they had not got their engines optimized to BS6. So if anyone has got a Tata Hexa, hold on to it because it's one of the finest cars ever made in this country.
And that was Adil Jal Darukhanawala. Thank you, Adil, for joining us today.
Not all the best to you.
With that, it's a wrap on this week's episode. Make sure you subscribe to this podcast if you have not already. I'll be back next week. Until then, stay safe.